How is everyone doing? I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Line CV. Welcome to a new video. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing Sarri and a backup plan for the team. This is a discussion that a lot of fans are constantly talking about. A lot of people feel like we're too one-dimensional. But is there some context that a lot of people aren't thinking about when giving this opinion? In this video, I'm going to explain the major thing that we constantly have to consider, the major thing Sarri is constantly thinking about when selecting his teams and setting up the system. But before I get into things, today's video is brought to you by the One Football app. Now I know I say this every single time, but honestly the convenience of this app is so helpful. I use it every single day because it's just easy to get the information I need very quickly when it comes to stats, fixture lists, team lineups, match facts before games as well, etc, etc. The One Football app is the perfect app for you. Now, if you guys want to help me out, in the link in the description below, it's going to be a link to download the app. Make sure you download it from the link in the description because each download does get tracked. So if you do want to help me out, do me a favor and download the One Football app below. Now, getting straight into the first point, and does Sarri need a backup plan? Now, people constantly say that Sarri 100% needs a backup plan. But one thing they don't ask themselves is, what is the backup plan this squad can do? What really is it? But Nini, what about other backup plans like using two strikers up front? What about using a 4-2-3-1 so Kante can play deeper alongside Jorginho? Ain't that gonna help us out? Now, yes, it could help us out, but we signed Sarri for that reason. I told you guys earlier, for the philosophy. If we use that style of football, we're going against what we signed him for in the first place. I'm hoping the reports I was reading earlier in regards to people in the club telling Sarri that he needs to have a backup plan is false, because I really feel like it would just sum up why this board knows nothing about football and why they're the main reason we're in this predicament in the first place. Their lack of football understanding has really cost us a lot when it's come to signing the right players we need or bringing in the right managers. That's really going to help us. And I think it would be quite disrespectful to tell someone like Sarri, who is in a mold similar to Pep, to change his philosophy on football to bring out the best of average players. Because what you're really telling Sarri is, listen, we don't care about your football. All we care about is winning at any single cost. And that's kind of like the wrong approach for a guy like Sarri. This ain't the first time that Sarri's methods have been questioned. When he was first at Napoli, the media and fans constantly kept questioning his approach because Napoli weren't as successful at the start of the season. They got better as things progressed, but for us it's like things have gone backwards a bit, and I think that comes down to the fact that the personnel ain't great. I feel like even if we use a 4-2-3-1 where Kante is playing deeper alongside Jorginho, and in my opinion, when you're doing that, what you're effectively saying is, let's play counter-attacking football. Or if you want to use two strikers up front, is that really going to be the difference that helps this team go to another level and start winning games? I don't necessarily think so. For me, it is quite evident that if you can't even get the first plan right, how can you go straight into a second plan? It doesn't make any sense. But all of you guys have heard of this argument before, but I do think that there's one aspect of this system that no one really respects as much, and if you're a manager, you're constantly thinking about this. And what point is that exactly? That's our pressing game. And it's natural that a manager does need to consider how his teams are going to defend as a unit. Are they going to sit back and soak up pressure and keep their shape? Or are they going to be aggressive and win the ball in the opponent's half? What we constantly keep forgetting, our new way of defending is our pressing game. If we don't press effectively as a unit, we're going to be exposed on the counter-attack, as we've already seen when it came to games like the Tottenham loss and the loss to Bournemouth as well. Now, yes, I do want to see a left-hand side of Emerson, Ruben and Eden Hazard, and I'm sure that Sarri would love to use this left-hand side as well. But if you're the manager, you have to consider the balance. But let's be serious for a second. If we use that left-hand side, we're going to force David Luiz into an early retirement. Now, I can imagine that a few of you guys would be happy to see that, but let's be serious with ourselves. For me, that should be our plan B. But when it comes to defending off the ball, just how effective are we going to be when it comes to that? And we're not. We know that Hazard doesn't like to press. he isn't aggressive enough. He doesn't get tight to his man. We know that Ruben struggles with this phase of the game. And when it comes to Emerson, his positional sense defensively isn't amazing. And when you combine all these factors together, it makes for a very unbalanced left-hand side. And we've already seen teams constantly target that left-hand side when it comes to counterattacks. And if we did use that left-hand side, it's only going to encourage them to attack that side with even more aggression. I feel like this left-hand side does need to be used at one stage in this season because offensively, it's our best. When you look at Napoli's team with Gulam, Hamsik and Insigne, they had that attacking thrust down the left, but when you look at our team, it's not the same. Alonso doesn't provide anything offensively for the team. Cover is much better deeper. He doesn't provide much attacking impetus in the final third. And we know that Hazard just doesn't press at all. And this is definitely one thing that constantly frustrates Sarri. And most times when he's questioning the team's mentality, what he's talking about is the fact that, where's your aggression in the press? Whenever we're behind in a game, we see players stop working hard. We see players not fighting to win the ball back, and we allow for all these gaps in the team to be created. And it's no surprise that Bournemouth constantly exploited us down the left-hand side in that game. But still, I don't think that everything's lost. I feel like we need to have the best of both worlds. For example, if we are going to use Alonso, I feel like to equal out the balance down the left-hand side, Ruben needs to start because he does provide that Eden Hazard impetus down the left-hand side. If Emerson starts, then I think that Sarri should decide to use Kovacic because I think that could help out in the defensive phase as well. But that's just me trying to think as Sarri, trying to think what he's thinking of the team right now. Now, when it comes to my personal opinion, my philosophy in life is that you don't get any rewards without taking any risk. Now, let me put on my hypothetical hat for a second. And I wish I had a hat right now, but I don't. But what I would love to see is that left-hand side I'm talking about. Now, yes, I understand that defensively, it's not going to help us. But our main issue these past few years has been the fact that we don't score enough goals. We need to focus on scoring first before we start to think about sealing out the game. And ideally, and yes, I'm being hypothetical, and I know that it's not going to play out like this in every single game. But I honestly think using that left-hand side for the first 60 minutes, at least so it helps us guarantee a win. Then, once we have the lead, let's say hypothetically after 60 minutes, we are 2-0 up, then take off guys like Ruben and Emerson, bring on Cover and Alonso, because if there's one good thing this team's good at currently, that's the fact that they're good at keeping possession of the ball without doing anything. And I'm thinking, in the context of this situation, if we're playing how we are currently, where we're beating a team 2-0, naturally, opposition teams are going to come onto us to try and get back in the game, meaning that it's going to create even more space for us on the counter-attack. I honestly feel like Sarri has to really look at the team and take a risk. That's what we need right now. We don't have the squad or the personnel to get that amazing balance in the team, because anytime we try to go for balance, it just creates unbalance. What unbalance am I talking about? I'm talking about the attacking balance that stops us from creating chances for our striker and stops us from scoring enough goals. I feel like this solution currently is the best solution to try and instill Sarri ball in this squad, because otherwise I don't think we have the personnel to get the best out of the system. Most players we have aren't technical enough to get the best out of the system. Now, I'm not saying that I know everything, but I think with my approach, I think currently that's the best method to get some type of balance in the team, because otherwise I don't see this team just turning things around overnight. It's only going to happen if we bring in the right attacking personnel, and hopefully gradually over time it would allow these guys to better understand the system more. I keep thinking to myself, why does this team constantly stop fulfilling the manager's instructions whenever things go against their way? And it does make sense if you think about it. If you're Eden Hazard, you know that there's no real link-up play down that left-hand side. You know that Cover isn't in enough higher-up positions to really link up with, and you know that Alonso doesn't create that width for you. So if you're Hazard, you're going to tell yourself, this system isn't working, I'm going to go back to what I know best, I'm going to play my own game. But honestly, I don't see this team perfecting this pressing style of play. It's not going to happen. Unfortunately, it's going to come down to signing the right players. I think someone like a Pulisic is a good start, because he's used to that tempo of football. We need to sign even more players to really help us out with these moments. But anyway, you guys, that's my opinion on this whole backup discussion that fans are talking about. And honestly, the only solution I feel like we can do is to take that risk and try and focus on winning the game early, whether in the first half or the first 60 minutes, before we start thinking about balance. But you guys, in the comment section below, give me your thoughts and opinions on this video. Do you feel like I'm right, or do you feel like I'm missing the point and that Sarri should have a different style of backup plan? If you think that, give some context in your comment below and let us know what you feel Sarri should do as a backup plan. But anyway, you guys, I've tried to do my best in regards to really explaining why Sarri has to constantly consider how the team presses and why this is the major stumbling block in regards to why he can't be too creative with his squad selections. You guys, I'm going to keep it moving. Expect another video out later. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Line TV. Signing out.